Today's episode of the Star Local Media High School Sports Podcast is brought to you by Texan Senior Residential Care Homes, ATD Painting, and Performance Food Group. Texan Senior Residential Care Homes, senior care at its best with a family atmosphere. They specialize in making their facilities as close to a home living experience as possible. Not only that, there are no move-in fees and there are no visitation restrictions. They are located near I-635 in Marsh Lane in Dallas, right near Carrollton. For more information, you can call 469-400-7650. That is Texan Senior Residential Care Homes. And now, let's podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Star Local Media High School Sports Podcast. My name is Matt Welch. I'm the sports editor at Star Local Media, and I am being joined by Justin Thomas and Brian Murphy. On today's podcast, we will discuss the final chapter to the Frisco Reedy Dream football season, as well as, we can officially say that we've covered a Heisman Trophy winner now.
Yeah.
But first, let's pick up with some high school football playoff talk. And gentlemen, we are down to just one team in our coverage area, and this has been the case for 7 straight years now. It's Allen. And Allen once again bound for the Final Four. They punched their ticket to the state semifinals over the weekend with a 51-7 victory over Waco Midway, a game that was only 10-0 at the half. And then those pesky old 34-point quarters will do a team in. Allen caught fire in the third quarter, and partially a combination of Allen just executing on a far higher level than they had been earlier in the game, and then just some lapses in execution by Midway that helped kind of get the ball rolling there. So this was a 10-0 game at the half, and Midway receives the ball to start the third quarter. So you're thinking that with this game being relatively back and forth, if Midway's able to get any points, I mean, you could be in for because Allen had played 2 really competitive games the 2 weeks prior against Rockwall and the Woodlands. So there was at least a blueprint there for Midway to make Allen sweat a little bit more. And then the opening kickoff happens, and it careens off the chest of the Midway kick returner. Allen recovers the ball in the red zone, and that was pretty much all she wrote. Allen scores in 5 plays. Midway takes the ball right back down to midfield. Turnover on downs on the curious 4th and 1 play action pass. And Allen gets the ball right back. They march right down and score again.
Allen seems to be forcing a lot of turnover and downs these playoffs so far.
Yes, between their work against Rockwall and I'd have to check, but certainly probably if you're going to look for a 3-game stretch in the playoffs, and probably as many turnovers on downs as that defense has enjoyed in quite some time. And yes, Allen Grant Tisdale and Theo Weiss hooked up for a couple touchdowns. Juwan Mason took an end around 24 yards. You even had defensive back Cornelius Williams getting in on the fun with an 85-yard pick six. Wow. And what was 10-0 at halftime blossomed into 44-7 by the end of 3 quarters. And all in all, it equated Allen's most lopsided playoff victory since the first round of the 2013 postseason, when they beat Lake Highlands 63-6. So it's been a hot minute since Allen's drummed up a team like this in the playoffs, and to do it at the state quarterfinals, it was definitely a game that, given what, the way that they were pushed against Rockwall and the Woodlands, just for Allen to, kind of, I don't know if there was ever any doubt within the team, but just to remind that, they are capable of getting to a level that few teams in the state are with just an emphatic blowout over what was a pretty solid Midway program.
That's surprising that Allen doesn't win more playoff games like that.
There's a lot of 35, there's a lot of 35 to 38, 28 points.
Of them that were
4 points. Sure. 44 points. So it's tough to beat a team in the playoffs by over 40 points,
especially in the 4th round.
Yeah,
which is nuts.
When you're down to the final 8 in your bracket. So I was admittedly a little surprised that it was all the way back in 2013, because you'd think just in the first round that they would have just wrecked shop on some hapless opponent by someone close to that. But no, it was an impressive second half for Allen, maybe as good a half as that team has played in quite some time. And the big takeaway, though, from this, kind of just looking big picture, though, because obviously it's a huge game coming up this weekend, that's going to be plenty of buzz surrounding that one against Duncanville. Allen had a couple injuries up front. They lost 2 starting offensive linemen, their center Nick Trice, their guard Sertadrian Brooks. And granted, the offensive line was able to, they rallied just fine. They had to sub in, Braden Sanders at center and Colton Ellert at right guard, and didn't miss a beat. I believe Grant Tisdale only got sacked 1 time all game, and the touchdowns to Theo Weiss, if you go check those out on those highlights on social media, you'll see that he had a very clean pocket to work with, and I mean, yeah, it looked like just a typical Allen offensive line, but obviously Duncanville is not a traditional defensive line, so we'll see. But that is obviously a very noteworthy subplot because obviously a tall order this weekend for Allen in the state semifinals.
Well, just real quick, man, that's crazy. 7 years in a row in the state semifinals.
I know.
What an awesome run.
It's no matter which way you slice it, because obviously, sure enough, Allen does have its detractors out there and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, like I've said, if you're competing at the highest level in UIL competition against the kind of schools that they've seen, and it hasn't been easy by any stretch. I mean, you see that game like against Rockwall, that was a very losable game. Midway, I mean not Midway, but the Woodlands was had a game tying drive that they were shooting for late, and then you think even in the past, those close calls that they've had in the second round. I mean, it's certainly something that folks, you kind of at this point some might take it for granted. Coach Gamble emphasizes every week. I mean, people don't realize how hard it is to do this.
Yeah.
So, but yes, no matter which way you slice it, against 6A competition, the kind of schools that they play in the Metroplex, which is for our money maybe the best, the most talented overall region of the state. I mean, yeah, to get to the state semifinals 7 straight years, that is no small feat.
Do you know off the top of your head which team bounced them out of the playoffs 7 or 8 years ago before they reached the?
I believe it was Euless Trinity in the second round.
Okay, when they were Euless Trinity.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it was Euless Trinity the last time when they lost, and that would have been the 2011 area playoffs.
Right before Kyler Murray.
Yeah, right before the Kyler Murray years. So. Yes, I believe Trinity was the last team to hand Allen a playoff loss prior to the state semifinals. They've lost twice in the state semis within the last 7 years, so this has been a stumbling block, as noted with the Woodlands and Austin Westlake and what they were able to do. And yeah, I mean, should be a fun game on Saturday though. Justin, you've already had a chance to see Duncanville in the throughout this postseason. You saw them what they were able to do against Louisville.
I saw a little bit of the Carroll game on TV too.
Yeah, I mean, the intrigue for this game just went through the roof with what Duncanville was able to do to South Lake Carroll.
Yeah,
a game
sounds like that was kind of similar game to the Allen game.
Well, it was the exact same score, 51-7.
Worst Carroll loss in the playoffs ever.
I mean, because that South Lake team was, like, they were rolling. I mean, you look at the job that they did just taking down DeSoto and Trinity. I mean, just juggernaut programs. And it really looked like, things were starting to fall into place for the South Lake program. Yeah. That, I mean, granted, it's still a great season for them and, in Riley Dodge's first year at the helm. But, yeah, this just might, once again, be just the latest affirmation that Duncanville's defense is just something special.
Yeah. So I think I was looking, and they've forced 10 turnovers in their 4 playoff games so far, including 5 on Saturday. I know they scored 2 touchdowns Saturday. I know against Louisville, their defense put them inside the 10 twice. I know they got a safety in one of their other games. So they don't just shut teams down, but they create offense for their own team too.
Did y'all see that cool video on Twitter after the game with a really neat moment with TJ McDaniels crying on the ground? His career just came to an end, even though he's going to SMU next year. And then a handful, almost a half a dozen or so Duncanville players came, encouraging him, helping him get up, and patting him on the shoulders and stuff. And that's what high school football is all about.
Absolutely.
You lose 51-7 in a game, in a lopsided score that not many people were expecting. Against 2 heavyweights just going at it, and then their star running back TJ McDaniel, in his lowest moment, obviously in his career, and that was great to see. By the Panthers. That was a really neat video.
Duncanville, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. Obviously, we're going to talk later on more detailed about this matchup. But I mean, Justin, you saw them against Louisville. What was just getting to see that that unit in person? What was just your initial takeaways and just what they were able to do?
Their front 7 just controls everything. They're awesome, and then their secondaries seem to be very elite with ball hawks. That's what I would say. Offensively, they move the ball, but I didn't get to see a whole lot offensively because they were just set up with short field so much. They didn't have to have long drives and stuff. I mean, they had a couple when they needed to, and they did. But most of their possessions, when I've seen them, have been starting deep in their opposing territory. But it looks like their quarterback had a pretty awesome game against Southlake, Jaquindon Jackson.
Yeah, it's a game that definitely I don't know who you favor in this one, honestly. I mean, I think I give Allen the edge just because of the experience in games like this. Now, obviously, this is Monday. I'm going to try to dig as deep into this game as I can in the days to come. But I mean, I don't know. You can make a great case for both sides in this one, and that's what I mean. It's the Final Four. Like I've said from the get-go. I don't think there's really that much separation between the top tier of teams in 6A this year, whether it's Allen, Duncanville, North Shore, heck, even Lake Travis now, which pulled an impressive victory over Converse Judson. There's really not that much in terms of just skill, separation between these teams. So I think what a juicy Final Four though. I mean, you really are getting, it's as good a Final Four as I think as folks could have envisioned. I'm looking forward to it. And that game on Saturday is going to be at AT&T Stadium, 4:00 between Allen and Duncanville. That should fill up pretty well, you'd think.
Yeah, I would think so.
That was at least that was how I spent my my afternoon, covering Allen against Waco Midway, and then all the while, you have something to say?
I saw Matt Stepp tweeted out. He said $30K expected for Duncanville Allen on Saturday. I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow, I wonder, man, because the only time
I wonder what if Southlake would have won.
Yeah.
I wonder what that
you think it'd be even more?
Yeah.
Because I always think back to that second round playoff game between Allen and DeSoto back in 2014. I want to say it was the one that Allen won on a walk-off. It was 25-22, and that was only in the second round, but that is as packed as I've seen AT&T Stadium for a non-state title game. When I'm thinking of just like non-state title crowds that involve Allen, that's kind of what I always defer to. But yes, with the intrigue surrounding this Duncanville game, then I could see it very well. And that $30K is not a wild estimation at all. But I spent my Saturday out in Waco covering the Allen game, and on the way back, there was a lot of buzz building then throughout Allen once they were able to polish off their victory, and hoping that one of their alumni was able to enjoy a nice personal accolade later on in the night as the Heisman ceremony went down Saturday evening. And sure enough, Allen alum Kyler Murray, he's what a year that he's had quarterbacking Oklahoma, and yes, sure enough, he is able to bring home the Heisman Trophy. What were your guys' just general reaction to that? To see Kyler just get get that award.
It's really cool. He's probably the best high school football player in Texas ever. It's up for debate, but he's
the closest thing that if you just read like the people that have been around this game forever and just who I guess I don't know, like who do you think of when you think of like the greatest players ever, like Ricky Williams or some of those Westlake quarterbacks? Or
think of Kyler Murray.
Like look at his resume.
Yeah,
undefeated.
It's the closest thing to a GOAT that you have at the Texas high school football.
He had the numbers.
How about this?
He had the wins.
He just comes back another year and didn't have this baseball thing going on, could he be the GOAT of college football as well? Like, if he came back and hit another season like this, not even counting what might happen in the playoff coming up.
Well, then he'd get in the discussion of like Tim Tebow
what if he won
and those
two Heisman's
guys.
in a row, though?
Then he'd go into the discussion with like Tebow and those type of guys that over the last 15, 20 years that have done it, but. That's awesome.
Honestly,
all year.
I'm not surprised at all.
All year it was Tua, and then he never plays in the fourth quarter. And then they compared the fourth quarter stats between, or the stats of the first three quarters between Kyler and Tua, and they're almost identical anyways. And then Tua goes down, and then against Georgia a couple weeks ago, that like sealed the deal, no doubt about it for Tua.
I guess I was kind of surprised how much he ran away with it by.
Yeah. I think if Tua would have balled out in that game and he would have led the comeback instead of Jalen Hurts, I think it would have been literally neck and neck. But Kyler deserved it, 100%, no doubt about it.
Because the case for Kyler was always that, OU had to have every ounce of that production to win because their defense was such a clown show. And whereas for Alabama, you look at just the embarrassment of riches that Tua has to work with. The fact that he goes down, Jalen Hurts comes in, and they don't miss a beat. In fact, they probably lose that game if Tua doesn't get hurt.
Now, if Kyler Murray gets hurt, and I don't even know who Oklahoma's backup is.
Austin Kendall.
Okay, this is OU guy right here. So if he goes in,
I'm sure it's not Kendall Austin.
He's not going to produce half the numbers that Kyler's putting up. I'm sorry, no offense, Kendall, but Kyler Murray's phenomenal.
It's just wild because the entire country kind of learned who Kyler Murray is this year. A lot of people had kind of heard about him, just kind of based on what he did in high school and whatnot. But as far as actually seeing him on a national platform plying his craft, the nation was just so amazed with this because he's so much fun to watch too. He's a really electric and exciting player. But around Allen, around the Dallas area, they're like, this was kind of like every Friday night from 2012 through 2014. I'm just you're just happy for him because of the road that it took for him to get here, with what happened at Texas A&M and that situation with him and Kyle Allen, and just obviously that didn't work out, and he ends up transferring to OU. He's got to obviously sit out a year due to the transfer rules, but then you have the rule that's passed that enables Baker Mayfield to play an extra year.
It just worked out perfectly.
So
Unless you want to watch him play more.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because the thing, because obviously this rule was enacted after Kyler had transferred. So Kyler's thinking that when he transfers, okay, I'm just going to have to set out 1 year and then I can vie for the starting quarterback job. But obviously, it's Baker Mayfield. You're going to be the backup to the kid to the guy who eventually wins the Heisman Trophy. So just to see that with the road that it took for him to get here, very unconventional, and then to see it rewarded with one of the great college football seasons ever. I looked up the stat on sportsreference.com. His quarterback rating is the highest all time in college football. So just to do that in just 1 year as OU starter, it just really speaks volumes. Just what a special talent, and it's a shame that we're down to what sounds like it's going to be at most 2 more football games for him, since it does sound like baseball is going to ultimately win out in the end for him. But what a ride, what a joy it's been to watch Kyler ever since 2012 when he was balling out as a sophomore at Allen.
What's it going to take for him to go to the NFL draft? He's got it set right now in baseball. Guaranteed money. Doesn't have to worry about the concussions, all those brutal injuries. And
he just needs to go and be the next Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders,
and just do both. Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Bo Jackson played football for fun in his spare time.
Shout out to Kyler Murray and his family and whatnot, and just everybody. What a cool. How about this cool deal? Jeff Fleener, the head coach at Mesquite, former longtime offensive coordinator at Allen, he and his wife made the trip up north to attend the Heisman ceremony and be with Kyler. So very, very cool seeing his old high school offensive coordinator there to celebrate his big moment with him. And that is a look at some more Allen-centric stuff, but obviously still plenty to discuss right in your neck of the woods with Frisco Reedy and their big game against Aledo. But first, got to shine that student-athlete spotlight, and we're going to stick with Allen since they're the only team we have left standing, and a chat with their standout defensive back Mo Perkins, who had a big hand in that win over Waco Midway on Saturday. We'll see what Mo had to say after a word from this sponsor. Let's take a quick break to talk about ATD Painting. Whether it's painting, staining, carpentry, residential, commercial, interior, or exterior, ATD Painting has you covered. They have 4 locations in the Metroplex, including Plano and Louisville. You can call 972-694-8888 for more information, or you can visit their website at atdpainting.com. That is ATD Painting. Check it out to see just how affordable professional painting can be. And now, let's get back to the podcast. We are out here at Allen High School talking with defensive back Mo Perkins of the Allen Eagles. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us today. I know it's been a busy week for y'all.
Appreciate you.
So congratulations on being bound for the state semifinals for, I believe, the 7th consecutive year. Just another day on the job here at Allen. So just talk a bit about on the heels of the victory Saturday against Waco Midway. Just how proud are you of the team just to be bounded for the Final Four once again?
Oh yeah, well we just got to keep up with our film study and going hard at practice, man. And any team like Waco, they called us out, so that made us come even harder, to be honest. And once you call us out, you're gonna get what you get.
Now you certainly had a big hand in that game on Saturday with 2 interceptions. Just talk a bit about what were you able to do on Saturday that made you so effective in the secondary?
Man, Saturday I was just waiting for my opportunity to get a pick, and it happened. And I even got 2, so I wasn't even tripping. That was my time to shine. And 4th round of the playoffs, that was the best time to do it, I believe.
Now, is that your first multi-interception game of the season or of your career? Career.
I ain't never done that.
Just from a personal standpoint, just to come through in such a big stage, being the 4th round of the postseason, just how much does that mean to you to be able to contribute that way?
Man, it means a lot to me. Like, I was starstruck after that happened, but it was a dream come true, to be honest. 'Cause all season I've been waiting to give me a pick.
Yeah, I saw that online. Is that those were your first picks of the season?
Yes, sir.
Was there such a sense of relief that kind of came with finally being able to get that one?
Now I know when I get that ball, it's something else.
Does that weigh on the defensive back's mind? Just hoping, because that's what you kind of live for, just those moments to be able to get those interceptions and whatnot. Was that in the back of your head at all? Like, man, I hope I get one this season, or?
That was on the back of my head. These playoffs brackets and stuff, because I had to step up. Because during the season, I ain't give me none. I was mad at myself, but I had to hurry up and give me something this week.
And I was, looking through some of the highlights, at least talk me through kind of that first interception. Thinking back to that, it looked like he, the receiver ran a slant on you, just kind of undercut it. Just what were you kind of talk me through how you diagnosed that takeaway, and just what were you kind of looking for that opened up that opportunity for you?
Well, I got beat across my face, and I knew I couldn't just give up or it would be an easy touchdown. And our coaches said they like train us very well to not give up and always finish the play and make a play if you mess up. And I had to jump the route real quick and pick the ball up, and that was my play I made, and that was it really.
Now, Coach Gamble talks about the importance of using your eyes when he's talking about the defensive backs. Just talk a bit about that skill and just how you've kind of been working on that, and just the importance of using your eyes as far as being a successful defensive back.
He really takes time to focus on eyes, because eyes can take you a lot. You can get beat with your eyes and you can win with your eyes, and that's what Coach Gamble, he really puts that on the corners. He stays with the corners at practice, and that's one thing we really learned this season, and it helped us out a lot. You see the score.
Kind of take me back to just the start of the season and just kind of what it was like, with all the guys that graduated last year from the secondary. What was it like on your end, having to kind of step in as one of the only experienced defensive backs on the team? Just what was it like, for you back in August?
I had to just bring up everybody that ain't played before and tell them y'all will be used to this. It ain't nothing new, and y'all just got to get used to the game. Y'all be fine if y'all just trust the process. And I had to step up big time, because I'm trying to be like last year. We want to stay with our other defense, and that was basically how I felt about being a senior this year.
Yeah, just how different does this senior year feel for you compared to your junior year last season?
Shoot, my junior year, I knew I had a little help, because I had Taj, Javon, all that in the secondary. So that had gave me a lot of weight off my shoulders. But this year I knew I had to play a big role in my defense, because it would be different for us, for seniors.
So now I'm going back to Saturday. The previous two games you guys had played some really competitive, down-to-the-wire style games. Really the first time all season you guys have been involved in those situations. Obviously on Saturday, one of the bigger playoff wins from a sheer margin of victory standpoint in quite a few years. How big was it for the team just to have a performance like that, just to kind of get back to playing the level of just dominating football that you guys are accustomed to?
It really felt good, but it was just another day for us. We got to get ready for Duncanville. But other than that, our defense, we had to come ready, because these last 2 weeks we have been looking like a state championship team, and everybody's been talking, and we felt some type of way, so we had to pick it up a little bit, and you saw the outcome of that.
So you mentioned Duncanville, and obviously looking ahead to Saturday, a huge one out at AT&T Stadium, state semifinals and all that. Duncanville, undefeated versus undefeated. What are some early thoughts on that matchup?
Shoot, they ain't seen us, we ain't seen them. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say.
What is obviously an entire week's worth of game planning still to go, but just as far as some initial keys to victory, what is it going to take on the defense's end on Saturday to punch your ticket to that state title game?
3 things: eye discipline, tackling, and no big plays, and we winning. Period.
Awesome. That should be a fun one on Saturday. I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure you guys are. I'm sure Duncanville is. It's kind of been a matchup that I'm sure has been on everybody's radar all season long. Should be a good one. And yeah, that is all I have for you, Mo. I appreciate you for taking the time to chat. Once again, this is Mo Perkins, defensive back out at Allen. Allen continues its playoff run Saturday out at AT&T Stadium, 4 o'clock. Class 6A Division I state semifinals against Duncanville. Mo, best of luck to you guys in your week of preparation. Thank you for taking the time to chat.
Appreciate you.
Thanks again to Mo Perkins for taking the time to chat for our Student Athlete Spotlight. And so let's pivot off of Allen. Obviously that's the price of winning lots and lots of football games at this juncture of the year. Going to talk a lot of Allen. But obviously we had another team that had a very big game this past Saturday. Frisco Reedy, in a game that was obviously very highly anticipated as they took their shot at the king of 5A Division I right now, Aledo. Brian, you're at this game. A game that, Reedy stayed within arm's reach for a lot of the way, but ultimately Aledo just a little bit too much. What were your takeaways from this game?
First off, Aledo is really comparable to Allen. They literally are the 5A version of them. They have a huge following. They've won 8 state titles within the last decade, 7 or 8 state titles within the last decade. They're an unstoppable force. Year in and year out, they have these new, D1 caliber guys. Their running back, speaking of Oklahoma, Jace McClellan, he's committed to Oklahoma. He's only a junior, so they'll get him next year. There's a guy, JoJo Earl. I'd heard about him a little bit, and I finally got to see him play. He's only a sophomore. Obviously he's a receiver, and they played him some at defensive back. He had an interception in this game. Picked off Josh Foskey, which is not an easy thing to do. Foskey rarely throws interceptions. He threw 2 in this game, and he's electric. I know he's got offers from Texas Tech and Texas, and like I said, he's a sophomore. Jace McClellan's coming back next year. He'll be a senior. Their quarterback, Jake Bishop, fine young quarterback. He's really elusive, can run the ball, throw the ball when he needs to. He's only a junior. The reign of Aledo terror is only just beginning, really.
Right back here next year.
Oh my gosh, for sure. I'll be shocked if they're not back in the Final Four. And this game, Reedy looked like they were going to be able to get control early. They got a 13-play drive to start the game. It ended in an interception. The play that set up the interception, the play before, there was an offensive pass interference called in the end zone. Coach Chad Cole told me after the game, I don't know. I didn't understand that play. I don't know why that was pass interference. Pushes them back to third and really long. Foskey throws an interception trying to make something happen. Aledo drives down. You're like, oh man, Aledo's gonna score here with ease. Then they throw an interception, and so it's like, okay, Reedy gets back the momentum. They drive back down, 14-play drive, settle for a field goal, and they had the ball for so long. It looked like Reedy was just controlling, keeping their defense off the field, and that's the recipe to knock off teams like Aledo, teams like Allen, and whatnot. But then after that, Jace McClellan showed up. He busted a 43-yard run just a couple plays later. He had a 50-plus yard run drive after that. He had 2 more touchdowns on the night. He had three touchdowns in all. They gave him the ball 28 times, almost 200 yards rushing. The dude is special. Aledo was just a notch better. They were the better team. Won.
Looks like Reedy didn't help themselves out with penalties either.
Oh man, there's laundry all over the field all game long. And like I said, that pass interference was just epitomized that game. They shot themselves in the foot too many times. They added a couple touchdowns late to make the score respectable. But like Aledo was up 14-3. This was a 3-0 ball game. At the 7-minute mark of the second quarter, and then that's when McClellan joined the party and got the first 2 touchdowns, and the Aledo offense started rolling, and then it was 14-3 before you even realized it, and then but from that point on, it was never a blowout. It was never out of reach, but you felt like Aledo was just in control. And Reedy did a good job. Once Aledo they would drive down the field with ease, and then they'd have to settle for a field goal. They did it 3 times. They kicked 3 field goals in this game, which is not many teams are able to do that even once. Aledo's coming in averaging over 50 points a game, just absolute juggernaut. And so props to the Reedy defense in doing that. And Foskey made a heck of a bunch of third down plays in this game. He found Nolan Matthews 2 different times on 3rd and long. He found Bennett Meekum on 3rd and long for first down. So the offense was doing what it could. They just couldn't get in the end zone when they needed to. That field goal by Harbor and then the interception on the very first drive, that ultimately kind of set the tone. Like, hey, if you don't get touchdowns on those drives, we're not going to win this game, because touchdowns are really hard to come by against Aledo. Before this game, Aledo's closest margin of victory was 14 the week before to South Oak Cliff. Other than that, it was 30, 40, 50, 60-point blowouts all across the board. So props to Reedy, I guess. The silver lining, you only lost by 10 to the number 1 team in the state. A heck of a year for Reedy. It's a shame that a lot of these guys are going to be graduating. A lot of their defensive line, a lot of their big guys on the offensive line are graduating. Foskey, Nolan Matthews, he's going to Arizona State. There's the Arizona guy right here. Michael Ferrara, tough to see him. After being a JV guy, the first couple years at Reedy, and then he steps in and just balls out as a senior on varsity at running back, and his high school career is over. But we'll see. We'll see if Reedy can bounce back after graduating a lot of these guys. But they've really set the bar and set the precedent at Reedy for.
Yeah, kind of sticking with that. Just what does a season like this do for just the trajectory of the Reedy football program being just 3 years old?
Look at Lone Star.
Yeah.
Lone Star, they saw success. I mean, granted, they had a rough 1 or 2 years to start off, like every other Frisco team has, but then they just went right into it. Making the playoffs and reached the state championship game in 2015, right before I started covering the team. And who knows? This might do the same thing for Reedy. They're well coached, they're well disciplined. You know, they still have some key guys coming back. You know, Will Harbor being one of them, the Mr. Do-It-All, kicker, first-team All-District linebacker, Wildcat quarterback. He's one of many guys that's still coming back. And they've, you know, like I said, they've set the precedent for what Reedy football is expected from these guys for the future.
So does this mean in 3 years we're going to have Lebanon Trail in the 4th round?
You know, that wouldn't surprise me. Honestly, I think Memorial, if any team would do it, I'm hearing great things about Memorial. You know, they're competitive a little bit. They beat Lebanon Trail, and they just, you know, it's like, no knock on them, but it's almost like the Bad News Bears. Like, they just gathered up this team basically in the spring. Yeah. You know, they just opened their doors, and that'd be interesting. Memorial, they got a lot of guys from Lone Star, so they know how to win. And that could be something to monitor in the next couple of years. A lot of people I've talked to said, hey, watch out for Memorial. Maybe not next season, but the year after, their third varsity season, like Reedy, because they have a good senior class coming in, just like Reedy did.
Interesting, wasn't it? Yeah, notable off-season storyline to monitor there out in Frisco ISD. And that'll do it for this edition of the Star Local Media High School Sports Podcast. Brian, Justin, appreciate you guys for tagging along. We'll be back on Wednesday to preview the upcoming Allen Duncanville game, plus talk a little boys basketball and whatnot. So yes, folks, hey, enjoy your week, and we will talk to you all later. Thanks for checking out this edition of the Star Local Media High School Sports Podcast, brought to you by Performance Food Group. They deliver more than 150,000 food and related products to customers all across the country. Their McKinney office is currently hiring Class A CDL drivers, order selectors, and many other entry and part-time positions. For more information, you can visit their website at pfgc.com/careers, or you can call 214-491-3130. That is Performance Food Group, located in McKinney at 500 Metro Park Drive.